be back again, once again, at the 5th District and to join a great veteran like Bob Cranston. I'm an Army veteran myself, and I'm delighted to be with all of you and my fellow veterans in the room. So much to say and so little time. So let me take a few minutes and talk to you about this United States Senate race. Most of you know me. Some of you maybe don't. But let me just mention, I was the elected Commonwealth's attorney for Henrico. I understand what it is to stand in the courtroom for the people. The elected Attorney General of the state of Virginia. The elected Governor of the state of Virginia. I remember going to the University of Virginia myself and studying foreign policy. I'm often very proud to say that Roxanne, my wife, former First Lady, she and I met going door to door in Charlottesville, Virginia for J. Kenneth Robinson. That was our first date. And you folks, you know my two boys, Jay, who's now 25 and just announced he's going to get married this summer, as a matter of fact. Remember that little boy that was in the governor's mansion? And Ashton, who's now second year at UVA. I've been the chairman of the Republican National Committee. As governor of Virginia, we brought in the very first majorities in the Virginia State Senate and the Virginia House of Delegates, the very first ones, and swept the governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. In addition to all of that, I just was reelected, I'm told, yesterday, once again, to be on the national board of the National Rifle Association by gun owners all across the country. Along the way, I chaired 2 federal commissions. One on the internet and sales tax issues, which brought out a report that made sure we kept taxes off the internet. A second commission, the chairman of the National Commission for the United States Government on Terrorism and Homeland Security. I was the governor of the state of Virginia during the 9/11 attack. Chairman of the Board of Visitors of the United States Air Force Academy. Army veteran, traveled across the world, thought a great deal about these foreign policy issues. I believe these are the kinds of experiences that will be very key in serving in the United States Senate on your behalf. You know who I am, and you know what I am. Folks, let me just say this. The most important thing I want you to remember about Jim Gilmore is when he says he's going to do something, he does it. I've always done what I say I'm going to do. As governor, we said we were going to cut the car tax. And we cut the car tax as governor of Virginia, 70% off in the 4 years that I had as governor of this state. We said we were going to support education and put 4,000 new teachers into the schools and reduce class sizes, and we did it. We said that we were going to take the lottery proceeds, which had not been going to education, and dedicate it back to where it belonged in education, and we did it. We said we were going to emphasize education in this state, and I put a Secretary of Technology in the cabinet. We said we were going to put in new jobs all across the state of Virginia, and we built a record number, 250,000 new jobs. Now, let me address the pro-life issue with you for just a minute, because I want to do that. I understand that some of you have gotten some rather bizarre phone calls here in the last few days on this issue. Some people who said that I'm pro-abortion. In fact, some of the phone calls even said that I was for a North American Union. North American Union. Absurd, of course. Folks, I'm a pro-life guy. I always have been. And that is a fact. Now, let me talk to you about that just for a minute. I have always been a pro-life governor. I was the best pro-life governor in the history of this state. It is a fact that we agree on the theology and we agree on the science. We know when life begins. The question is, where is we going to put a law that prohibits all women in the United States? And from the very beginning of my public career, I've always been the same and taken the same position. And I believe that after a period of time at the beginning of a pregnancy, that after a period of about 8 weeks, you can in fact enforce such a law on women in the United States, but not until that time. And I'm not going to change my belief structure in order to be expedient and get a bunch of votes. I'm not going to do it. But I will say this to you. During the time that I was governor of Virginia, we passed a 24-hour waiting period. We passed an informed consent law. I signed the partial birth abortion ban. I was the author of the anti-cloning bill. We established all the abstinence programs, which have now been defunded by the Democrats in the state of Virginia. I intervened in a case that was identical to the Terry Schiavo case, the Hugh Finn case. and took a lot of beating for that in order to stand up for life and what was right in the state of Virginia. Now, you do have a choice, and the people of Virginia do have a choice. You have a choice today, you don't have a choice in November. And I wish you to consider for just a moment, if you were pro-life, how you would feel about Senator Mark Warner at the United States Senate. When the time comes to vote on issues like Roe v. Wade, I've been on the record for years that I know that Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided. On the issue of federal funding of abortions, I've always been on the side of saying that we will not have any kind of federal funding or state funding for abortions for that matter. On these kinds of fundamental issues that will come like judges, consider for just a moment the kinds of judges you're going to get with the President Barack Obama and Senator Mark Warner in a filibuster-proof Senate. Consider that for just a moment. And these are the duties and responsibilities that we have as we go forward in these issues. You do have a choice, and the people of Virginia will have a choice, and Mark Warner is that choice. Now think about this as we go forward, as we move forward on this. And I want to tell you a few things, and then I'll get off the stage and turn this over to the